Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the
Oh,
teaser episode of Raising Excellence.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Sorry about that. The title of today's show is the teaser for Outgrowing the Fear of Conflict. I'm Michael, the Opportunity Ambassador, and with me today is our Freedom Facilitator, Dennis.
Greetings and blessed love.
Uh, sorry, I was trying to find a key over here and
it's
got
all
distracted.
it's all good. We're handling the conflict well, isn't it? Do you have any conflict in your life right now, Mike?
There's always some kind of conflict, and I think the outside world reflects the inside world in a lot of ways. What we do or what we see out in the outside world is things we see on the inside as well, and so there's a lot of conflict out there, unfortunately, and there's even conflict within us, and we see it all over the place. But I think a lot of people suffer because they don't know healthy ways to deal with conflict. And so for a lot of people, they've been conditioned and programmed to fear conflict and fear uh, confronting conflict.
It is a
But I
great
don't know
way.
what.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, please.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like it is a great um, a way of looking at it, right? To look at the conflict on the in the outside world and to take it as a reminder of, oops, there's something I have to deal with on the inside, and yeah, I think
Yep.
that's already like um, a way of making a difference because once you can make that difference and you can see that means you're already reflecting, you're not just, oh my god, there's but what kind of conflict do we have? There's conflict within the family, with relationship, with the spouse. There is children. Children can cause conflict, and but adults
Yeah.
even more. And there's war going on a large scale. There's conflict. Inside of you, as you highlighted as well. There's this inner voice. There's many of us have this inner conversation that sometimes seems to be very very much on the subconscious level, where there seems to be this voice or somebody inside who is he's continuously like nagging and down talking and even worse, and kind of like where this conflict is actually it does seem to hinder us, it does seem to keep us from expressing our true potential and being all that we can be, and it takes up so much energy, isn't it? So many resources are bound, again, on a multinational level, but also on the very personal level. How much energy, how do we waste in you know dealing with sometimes mundane situations, or something that is really tiny, and then blow it up, or it gets blown up in like out of proportion, and then we spend our valuable lifetime and energy on something that is really, if you look at it a week after or a year or 5 years after, it's like pff, I can't
Yeah.
imagine like how I got so excited about that. It's nothing really, and it just dispersed in the air, but it took me how much, several hours, several days, or half a lifetime actually to come to that conclusion. So how can we shortcut that?
Yeah, well, I would just say that we don't even realize the actual ramifications of conflict, because I think in a lot of ways it deters us from actually communicating ideas as well. Because people are so fearful of being in conflict that in a lot of ways they don't express themselves, and certainly things like political correctness and things like that really kind of hinder people from even speaking how they feel, and expressing the ideas that they have, and the qualities that they can bring to the table because of fear of conflict. So I think there's a huge amount of potential that people are really unaware of, because there's so much conflict in the world and so much hindrance to great ideas and communicating properly, that they don't even really notice. They just kind of, in a lot of cases, they just isolate themselves and kind of do their own thing. And to some degree, don't even see how much potential they might be able to bring to the table because they're not aware of it.
And as if it wasn't already enough work and effort to deal with the conflict itself, we add on to it, we add the fear to it, and then we have to deal with the fear of it first in order to even get to the conflict.
Yes.
And it seems, at least to me, it seems that oftentimes the fear is actually much worse than the conflict itself. And once I confront, my fears or my worries about it, like once I go through that, then the conflict actually seems tiny in relation to the fear
Oh,
itself.
absolutely. Well, and there is some natural attraction to conflict that that people have. When it comes to movies and TV shows and stuff like that, and celebrities and stuff. Everybody kind of flocks to what is confrontation of problems and so forth. And I think that's actually a healthy response. But then actually dealing with conflict is the one where they've like inverted people's uh, skills and really have conditioned people to do the wrong thing that only creates more problems. And so of course that's where the authorities and government and people that uh, you know suggest that they're needed because there's all this conflict and who's going to manage all that. And
Uh,
so so that's where they kind of perpetuate themselves, is by kind of leading people to the wrong solutions.
I was just picturing how we could scientifically prove that point that you just made, that conflict seems to be so much more attracting to people. So maybe we look this Wednesday, how many viewers, how many people come on and engage for outgrowing, and what the interest is going to be of participating and being part of outgrowing the fear of conflict. And then maybe next week or at some later point we can have like a show where we promise that, we're gonna actually enter conflict, like, we're gonna wrestle in the sand, Mike and Dennis, or, or we're
We're going to
gonna,
create a conflict and then uh,
yeah,
yeah.
we see how many people come out for that.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see when people are boxing matches and political debates and stuff like that, how popular that kind of stuff is. That's certainly one of those things. But like, what is actually transpiring is not really learning. I mean, maybe in boxing there's some learning going on there, but
I should
probably
have never
nothing
done
in the
that.
political debates. But there is, I think there's a great deal of opportunity in like understanding that, like, when it comes to a lot of conflict, most of it is misunderstanding and miscommunication that leads to conflict. And so like being able to root that out is beneficial. But that's part of that's part of the Wednesday show, and we don't want to
Yeah,
get too far into that.
yeah. And it's exciting, and again, that's Wednesday, what kind of strategies and what kind of ways we can actually approach this, this fear of conflict with. And because we can come at it from all angles, and we can deal with it, without even leaving the comfort of our chair, um, and really, go within, and go into the source of conflict right there. Or we can choose, a path of, sitting down maybe with our spouse, or talking with our children, or we go out and engage in some kind of activity that doesn't even require any kind of talking. And it's amazing, like
Yeah,
the conflict is all over the place, but solutions are also all over the place. And just,
yeah,
to imagine the benefits, what kind of benefit would it what kind of difference would it make to your life right now if you wouldn't have to, account for not account if you wouldn't have to put energy, resources, money, relationships, time that you have, relationships that you have built over time. If you would, if you would not have to give that away or dedicate that to dealing with fear, of conflict or with conflict itself. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, we would be, we would have so much more lifetime. We would have so much more uh, money, and resources available at our hands that we could use in much better ways, I'd argue.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's, when it comes to parents raising children and children growing up with a better understanding of how they fit into the world and, you know, business and work and health and all those things that, are affected by conflict. It's just an incredible, valuable uh, understanding to have is how to deal with it correctly so that it actually is an opportunity to learn and grow rather than something to fear.
And to overcome the good old divide and conquer, isn't it? Because that's where
Absolutely.
conflict is being used even purposefully against us. So wow, let's
Absolutely.
overcome fear of conflict. Let's overcome the conflict. You know, unite in strength on the inside, on the outside, and transform our lives and the planet itself. Exciting
Yeah,
times.
that's pretty big shoes to fill as far as promises for the future. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that is out there for those that really kind of understand conflict resolution.
Yes,
But yeah, we're trying to keep this short, trying to do that teaser format. So
exactly.
let's end it here and let's encourage everybody to be there at our show at 4:35 approximately Central Time.
11:35 Central European time. That's Berlin, Amsterdam, and then PM.
Okay,
And yeah, on
and
YouTube, Facebook, I believe as well. And see
yes,
you on Wednesday. Come with your comments, with your input, give suggestions, and be part of it. It's a co-creation. This life
absolutely.
is a co-creation. So, looking forward to Wednesday.
All right.